something. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're grateful to be on air each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, pretty much, on CKLU 96.7 FM, CKLU.ca, and if you click on the Radio Player Canada app on CKLU.ca, you can stream us. If you download the Radio Player Canada app, you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also, there's other programming, really great programming from other programs on CKLU 96.7 FM that you can listen to anytime, anywhere if you have the Radio Player Canada app. If you want details on what those shows are and what the times may be, you visit CKLU.ca and you can check out the schedule. There's something for everyone. If you don't like what you're listening to at the moment, you just give it a little bit and you'll find something eventually that suits your fancy, because there's something for everybody on CKLU. If you'd like to support the radio station, CKLU.ca, you can buy some merch or just make a donation. If you have an idea for a show or you want to volunteer in another way, just email gm at cklu.ca. That's Rob's email. Let him know what you'd like to do, what you have in terms of skills. If it's anything to do with radio or you want to get a show on the air, you can use it on the radio. You can use it as a podcast. It's pretty interesting. You put a camera in front of you while you're doing it and have a live stream as well. So it's pretty great opportunities for those who have something they want to share, something they feel passionate about, or a skill or a talent that they have experience in that they'd like to turn into a show. Just email gm at cklu.ca. We're also streaming at Facebook Live and YouTube Live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow on those platforms, along with commenting, because this is your show. This is where you have a conversation. We have a conversation right here on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM, to talk about the things that are important to us, not only in Greater Sudbury, but also abroad as well, in our region, our province, country, and world. There's things that are going on that affect us. So local headlines will probably dominate the majority of the show today. Ward 2 Councillor Michael Vagnini is still not, we don't know his whereabouts. So that's alarming to a large degree. So we'll look through Sudbury Stars. You know, they have their newsletter, their morning brief, that I don't know if it comes through every morning, but it came through this morning and they did a great job with their news coverage. We got that. We got Sudbury.com. We'll look in at cbc.ca, CBC, Sudbury, Northern Ontario, CTV as well, on Sudbury.news, where it aggregates all the news in one location for everybody. We'll have news and weather today. Sports, the Sudbury Wolves are in action in Niagara on Thursday. And where else are they on Friday? They're in Brantford. So Niagara on Thursday, Friday in Brantford, and they're not back in Sudbury until Sunday, where they face off against the Mississauga Steelheads right here. So, and then they're not in action until, I think it's Wednesday of the following week. So that's your Sudbury Wolves. We'll just kind of skip the sports segment because that's pretty much all that I had to say about that. And we'll be back with some weather. We'll dive right in with your comments and much more right after this. All right, Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. It's currently -2 degrees, but it feels like -7. There should be light snow, and today there's periods of snow, about 2 centimeters worth. The wind will be about 20 kilometers per hour, very mild. Temperature will stay steady near -1. The wind chill will feel -8 this morning and -3 this afternoon. Tonight, periods of snow ending this evening, then cloudy, 40% chance of flurries. A risk of freezing drizzle, however, overnight, and the wind will be very moderate. A low of -2, wind chill near -7. And then a look at your 6 days, 0 and overcast for tomorrow. 30% chance of flurries, -1 on Thursday. I don't believe this. Whatever you say. Yeah. Sunny, 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 sunny for the following 4 days. Believe it when I see it. And I know it's not going to happen. So, but here it is. We can go back to this show on subsequent shows. Let's say Friday we'll check back in with this. I'll just play this little clip on Friday and see what our 6 day looks like compared to what it looks like now. But if it were like that, so anyways, sunny Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sunny Sunday, and Monday, -5, -4, -3, -4. So I'll believe it when I see it. And there's a look at your satellite, what it might look like if it was, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? But it's just not working. So there's just no clouds on the radar screen on the satellite because it's not functioning. But that's what they're saying it's going to look like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So there you go. Imagine if that's what it's going to be. We'll take it. We'll take it. So I'd love to be wrong. But anyways, it's good to dream. Anyways, that's your Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with your comments, news headlines, and if we get a chance, a little bit of a deep dive. Medical seems to be the theme of the day. Nursing shortages, a report that was supposed to come out about the toxic drugs situation in Sudbury, a little bit of that. Yeah. So other than some other local news headlines, there's that. And then maybe if we have time, we'll look into some federal politics if we have time. Misspending, a little bit of the debate in Parliament. It's interesting to watch it sometimes, the back and forth, but that'll be if we have enough time. We'll be back right after this. And we are indeed back, and we're trying to navigate everything here, all the technology, and make sure everything's lined up for the show. But having said that, let's check in with who's on with us already. We appreciate you being here. Make sure to comment if there's something in a story that you have a point of view on. It is Sudbury News and Views, by the way, and we all have views on the news, so make sure to share them if you're on the live stream, and we'll do our best to get them up on the screen for those watching and read them for those who are listening. Good morning, Judy. Thanks for being the first to the Facebook party. Belinda with usually a positive comment of the day. Good morning. Pick up the battle and make it a better world just where you are. Never underestimate the impact you make. Pretty cool. I do have a positive, these graduation ceremonies sometimes that go viral with people with positive messages. I found one yesterday and I thought this would be great for the show at a certain time. You never know. It'll just come out, whether it's today, tomorrow, whatever. I want to share that. There's just too many positive things in these particular remarks of this gentleman at this particular graduation. So hopefully coming up. Good morning, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. That's Denise and Leandre. Good morning. A quick tip: learn how to grow vegetables instead of electing them. Sorry, I wasn't expecting the punchline there, so appreciate it. Nice to have humor first thing in the morning. Jerome, good morning from UG of Sudbury. Good morning from the UG of Sudbury. Well, good morning to you, Jerome. Much appreciated. Maurice, good morning. Smiley sunshine emoji. And Trevor, okay, you got a few things here. This would be a lot to read. It might take up a good chunk of the show, and I can only fit 2 lines on the screen. However, I would encourage people to go and read the comments in the comment section when you look back. Yeah, I guess it's on the medical theme, so I'll read part of it and then I'll get people to read the rest of it, right? So they forced us to stay in home for 2 weeks and flatten the curve, then 2 months, then 2 years. They forced us to social distance outside. They chained up swings in parks, tied off outdoor basketball nets, locked up outdoor dog parks. They shut down churches and AA meetings while leaving Walmart and liquor stores open. They forced us to wear masks outdoors, and anti-lockdown protests, which were outlawed in some jurisdictions while justifying others because of political views, I would say. I'm just editing this as we go, right? They forced us to celebrate holidays alone, die alone, and to grieve alone. They restricted who we could have in our homes and how many. They forced us, or tried to force us, to quarantine our healthy kids to mere exposure, only to calm it was communications mistake. Only to claim it was a communications mistake. Sorry about that. That's why I probably didn't want to take on reading this in its entirety, but you get the point. And all of these things we'll be talking about today, possibly with the ArriveCan app, which was part of all this, right? Because when you travel, you had to get the app to cross the border, and it never worked. And now it's shown that they wasted $52 million, and most of the contractors that were involved with this app didn't even do anything. They just took your money, your tax money, and nobody's being held accountable for that, right? So that just goes along with these things, makes you think. Marc-Serré looked like a kidnapped victim reading from a cardboard script. Our puppet mayor will be regurgitating more liberal garbage soon. Okay. I did read a little bit of Marc-Serré's comments in the Sudbury Star yesterday about the carbon tax, how it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and everybody is apparently making good on it. They're making money from the carbon tax, which doesn't make any sense. You can be taxed, but it's good for you because you're making money off tax, which is Orwellian speak to me. Take your money only to give it back to you and say you're making money off of it. They wouldn't do it if they weren't making money off of it, first of all. It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be a tax. So people people can be stupid. Yeah, they can be stupid. And I think they're banking on more people being like that when they don't understand. And then to end the comments, by the way, in his remarks about you got to watch out for misinformation on these things. Of course, you're making money off the carbon tax. Watch out for people who say anything else. Oh my goodness. It's Saturday Night Live couldn't come up with this stuff on their own. Green Sudbury, Pierre, good morning to you. Quite possibly the best weather forecast in town. I'll believe it when I see it as well. And you got that right. Marianne, good morning from Barrie, Ontario, liked and shared. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. And yeah. Making money. What a joke. Yeah, we're making money off the carbon tax. It's a good way to sell it. It's an old trick, right? Kind of like, yeah, the 2 weeks, don't worry, you lose your job. Don't worry, you got $2,000 a month. Don't worry about it. We got you covered. You're kind of paid off to go along with political things that they're doing, and people fall for it. It's good for you. Trust me. Okay, Marianne, only ones making money is the government for sure. Well, you looked at all the pay raises that our federal government got in the last 5 years, right? 4 years, 5 pay raises in 4 years, the federal government. When Canadians are going through all of this, I'd like to see an op-ed in the Sudbury Star of Mark Sede talking about that. The reasons why politicians needed raises. I would love to hear him talk about that. Why he received 5 raises in 4 years, while other Canadians are being taxed to death, literally, and can't afford groceries almost. If they at least doubled groceries, most of them, if not tripled grocery prices, right? So you could say, well, that's why all Canadians got 5 raises in 4 years, but no, only they did. I don't think anyone else can say they got 5. There'd be very few people who say they got 5 raises in 4 years, and when they're already making in and around $200,000 a year, while they continue to tax us more, telling it's better for us. We can get $188 twice a year, as if it's a great thing. Our grocery bill in 1 week went up that much. That doesn't help much, Andre says, so when are military going green? Well, I guess they wear green, so they're kind of partly there already. But yeah, they'll drive around in battery-operated tanks with solar-powered guns. Yeah, that's our future. Belinda, that's insane rhetoric. It's not going to work. People are barely scraping by. For sure, exactly. They're all overpaid for the work they do. I should say what little work they do. And again, right, it's when we're suffering and we see these things, it's just two different worlds. We don't want our leaders to live in a bubble, but unfortunately, on the municipal level, the provincial level, and on federal level, it just happens, right? And that's just talking about the elected officials, not even the bureaucrats that are there, lifers. They're the real ones who make the real decisions, who move the glacier along, and keep the ship running. And so, yeah, we don't talk very much about the bureaucrats as much as the politicians, right? Because they're the front line, the politicians, they're the faces. But behind the scenes are the workers who are there for life. They get the job. They're the manager. They're the assistant manager to the assistant manager to the assistant manager kind of thing, right? Very bloated. Our government just increased by a third, I think it was, since Justin Trudeau or more. Federal workers. For what reason? I have no idea. There's no real reasons given. We have no say in it where our tax dollars go, really. We would just hope that somebody that we elect would be able to take the money and be fiscally responsible with it. Good luck with that one. Okay, so local news first. We'll dive into maybe some more federal stuff, as it looks like we were already talking about that a little bit later in the show, hopefully. Headline here, Sudbury Star, police continue to hunt for missing Ward 2 councillor. Officers act on tips from the community, and a drone was already deployed. So this coming from the Sudbury Star this morning, who has the bulk of our news here. The search continued Monday for Michael Vagnini, a colorful city councillor and former chair of the Greater Sudbury Police Service Board. So he's also the chair of the Greater Sudbury Police Service Board. Interesting. Officers are currently mobile in their vehicles following up on information that is coming in from community members, said the Greater Sudbury Police Service spokesman Caitlin Dunn mid-afternoon yesterday. Dunn added one of the officers had a drone with them, and the unit would be deployed once they have a start point for the search. Vagnini, the rep for Ward 2, was reported missing on Sunday, having last been seen in the area of McCharles Lake Road in Walden. The 62-year-old councillor requires medications, but has none with him, police said in a release. As a result, he may appear confused or disorientated. Picture of the back of his truck here. License plate number was given yesterday by the media. Vagnini has also been battling health issue in recent months, but was seen on Saturday attending a rally in Bell Park. The event was held by the Sudbury Freedom Convoy, which shared an image of the counselor on social media, clad in a yellow hoodie. Interesting. Police said the counselor was last seen wearing a bright yellow hooded sweater, green pants, and black running shoes. Concern about the popular and flamboyant politician rippled throughout the community and social media discussions following the news of his disappearance. Some friends cited comments he made recently that were not in character or seemed confused, adding to the general angst over his welfare. Many offered prayers. His partner, Janie Galipo, in a post in the Ward 2 group on Facebook, said, "I cannot express the appreciation I have for everyone in Ward 2 and Sudbury in the search of our beloved Michael. A lot of people are calling and texting his phone, but just want everyone to know that I have his phone with me. So if you see that a Facebook message has been read, it's me that is reading them. Please continue to pray. We are sick about this." So he doesn't even have his phone. His partner has his phone. So this is beginning to be even more interesting now. So he's at the Freedom Rally on Saturday, last seen there. His partner has his phone. Why is that? Why didn't he have his own phone? Who leaves their place without their phone? That's interesting. There's no mention of that's weird in the article. Claire, good morning. Thanks for being with us. Much appreciated. Marianne says, gotta love how they automatically deemed him mentally unwell. 100%. Yeah, like that's an easy storyline, right? For people to swallow. Doesn't have his medication. He's been acting a little strange lately, and obviously he was at the Freedom Rally, so he must be really strange, right? That's a joke, by the way. So again, it just puts it all in there. And so people can have a picture of what's going on. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. It's just, again, this is how media covers things and how people get ideas of things. But don't you think it's strange he didn't have his cell phone? Isn't that weird? Like, I don't care if there's different things you're going through. Okay, I'm off to the the rally today. I'm just not going to take my cell phone. Doesn't make any sense. And no one thought that's weird. Darren Vagnini encouraged residents to keep an eye out for his uncle's pickup, a black Dodge Ram with a broken taillight on the passenger side. The vehicle could be hidden in plain sight in one of the parking lots, he posted. Greater Sudbury Mayor Paul Lefebvre said in a statement that all members of council are extremely worried about Vagnini and hope he's soon found safe. Goes on to say these type of situations are very challenging and we all want to see a good outcome, one where he's safely back with his family. I know the Greater Sudbury Police Service is taking every action to locate him. I thank them for their diligence and focus on this matter. I and all of City Council are hopeful that our counselor will be found quickly in good health. Now, just for the record, I want everyone to know, if this ever happens to me, I have never taken any medication for depression whatsoever. I've never been clinically depressed. I have no reason to feel I need to get away from anyone anytime. I am very involved in many networks of people. So if any report ever comes out ever that I've been starting to be like this, you can't believe it. It is not true. So just for the record, I'm not saying anything, but crazy stuff. Police said officers continued their search overnight between Sunday and Monday, but had not yet located Vagnini or his vehicle, which has his license plate. BK22178. They published it again. So anyways, so if he would have had his cell phone on here, it would have been easy to locate him. You just track it. You just get cell phone records where it's pinging the tower, and you can track him no problem. It's strange he doesn't have a cell phone on him. That's interesting. That's all I got to say. Don't know if that means anything whatsoever. It's not hard for a politician not to be carrying a cell phone. They're always on call. Oh, it's hard for a politician not to be carrying a cell phone. Exactly. Even more than most people. Their constituents are always, and he cared so much, and that's the thing, right? He cared so much about the ward that he covered. It's another kind of red flag to think that he didn't have his phone on him. You know, what if a constituent was in trouble? How could he be contacted? There's no way. I don't know if he would do that, even if he was acting a little strange. I hope they find him safe and sound, Marianne. Yep. Morning, Vin. Thanks for being with us. Much appreciated. And I think a lot of you find the same thing strange that I do. It's not that hard to see. I do watch a lot of crime shows, and I think I should have been a private investigator or a homicide detective for sure. I think there's been many a case in Sudbury that went unsolved that could have been solved if it would have been given some more time and effort. Good morning, Minik. Thanks for being with us. Much appreciated. We're talking about our ward councillor from Ward 2, Michael Vagnini, and that he's missing and he's nowhere to be found. No one knows where he is. He was, to sum it up, he was acting a little bit strange, according to people, saying a couple things. They're saying he was on medication. He was last seen Saturday night after going to a rally in Bell Park, wearing a yellow hoodie. There was a picture of him there. Didn't have a cell phone on him for some reason. And and the police are now, here's a second story from the Sudbury Star. They're stressing the importance of finding his vehicle, right? It's believed the counselor is driving a black Dodge Ram. If you don't know what our Dodge Ram front looks like, that's what it looks like. It's got the Ram. And there's his license plate again. Poor guy's going to have to get a different license plate upon a safe arrival, hopefully, and a good outcome. Police have released additional photos of the truck that Michael Vagnini was driving in the hope that it will be glimpsed somewhere in the city and help locate the missing counselor. Officers continue to follow up on information. However, they were still not able to find his vehicle. Here's some more pictures of it. A black Dodge Ram pickup truck with black rims, that match the color of the vehicle. Continue to search for the extensively in the Walden, Lively, Naughton, and Whitefish areas, police service said. But so far, there have been no confirmed sightings of his vehicle. It's believed that Michael was driving the truck at the time he went missing and was likely mobile for quite some time before the incident was reported to police. We're asking the entire community of Greater Sudbury to be on the lookout for the vehicle in parking lots across the city and for residents and business owners to check out all outbuildings on your property, the police said. Anyone with information on his whereabouts, you can contact police at 705-675-9171, 705-675-9171. That's who you call if you find anything or you have any information about him. Hopefully, while we're doing the broadcast, there can be news updates coming in. I don't have anything newer than what I'm reporting right now. So if anyone does have that, please let us know in the comments. We would definitely appreciate that. And we are all praying and hoping for a good result to happen for our Ward 2 counselor here. And again, some suspicious type of facts coming through in my point of view. Anyways, I don't know if anyone was with him at the rally, if you noticed anything strange about him. If you were speaking with him, did you notice he was not in his right mind at all? Did he say things that kind of threw you off? Did he look like he was not in a good space? There's some firsthand people, the last people who seen him, right? So I don't know why they didn't get anybody's take who was at the rally, the news. Like, speak to the people who last spoke to him, because he didn't have his phone, so no one else could have spoke to him other than people at the rally. That's the last place he was known to be. So was any people at the rally interviewed by the media? Did you see anything strange? Did he storm off in his truck? Did he look like there was something going on? So any media listening out there, that might be someone, or if you were at the rally, you can contact media and tell them, look, I was there. They'll probably print the story because it's very timely, right? Did you notice anything about him that was strange there? Contact media and get it out. And then we can cover it on the show too, right? So you get more life out of the story. More on that later, obviously. Again, coming from Sudbury Star, we need to save lives, the nursing leaders urge Ford government. Union calls on province to fund Sudbury's safe consumption site. Okay. So that's another story here, the safe consumption site. Back in the news. So we're calling on the province. Sudbury's only supervised consumption site, The Spot, saw nearly 2,000 visits in 2023, according to the local health unit. And all 20 overdoses there were reversed without requiring EMS or hospital emergency services. So they overdosed on clean drugs at the safe consumption site is what I'm assuming, because that's what they do at the safe consumption site is they give clean drugs to people. So there were 20 overdoses out of the 2,000 visits, looks like. But they were able to help them with the overdoses of the drugs they gave them safely, which is great. Again, I'm just assuming that's what it is. I don't know if they took laced drugs and then went in there and then they were saved from the overdose. It says 2,000 people were given safe drugs, 20 were saved from overdoses. So those members represent lives that many will have lost. Officials from Public Health, Sudbury, and districts who are behind The Spot, they agree with this, with harm reduction. I've never heard anything said about rehabilitation from Sudbury, from Public Health Sudbury. It's all about just harm reduction, giving them safe drugs and helping them when they overdose. Looks like, to me, it's all I'm saying from what I'm reading. And the Registered Nurses Association said last week, if The Spot had not received much needed funding for the past year, these lives would have been lost. Yet, the facility's future remains very much in doubt as a provincial safety review drags on. Claudette Holloway, a registered nurse and president of the RNAO, was in Sudbury to meet with members of the Sudbury and district chapter and staff from Public Health and discuss the pending closure of The Spot located at Energy Court in downtown Sudbury. Without funding, The Spot will close February 29th, prompting association officials to call on the Ontario government to provide continued funding for the site. On behalf of the 51,600 members, we're here to support that this area of Sudbury needs to have funding right now. So this is the union of nurses. They're there to fight for the nurses' jobs, really, and make sure they have job security more than being representative of the patients and the clients, right? So they don't want it to close because there's going to be some jobs lost. That's what unions do. They don't protect the consumers or the clients or the in this case, the clientele would be people suffering from addiction. They don't represent the people that they're serving. They represent the nurses that are losing their jobs. So that's why they're in Sudbury, just to let everybody know. And so that's they're beating the drum, and they have a huge voice, right? 51,600 members. So we're coming with that clout behind us to make this statement, to demand that you give funding for this site. I guess not really reviewing or discussing what the site is doing and what's the goal of the site. What's the means to the end of this place? These are human beings we're talking about here. And I'm not talking about the handful, and I mean handful, of people that would lose their jobs here. But apparently, there's no concern really, because nursing jobs are in demand right now, and they wouldn't be out of a job for very long because nurses are wanted anywhere in Canada anytime, right? So the concern for the nurses, sure, they'll lose that job, but they'll easily pick up another one. So are we concerned about the people? That's the discussion here, or the nurses losing their jobs? So nurses losing their jobs. Yeah, nurses are losing their jobs all over the place. So if you look here, it's from the Canadian Independent, nearly 700 Alberta healthcare workers who refused to get the jab, you remember that, are set to receive thousands of dollars in compensation following an arbitrator's ruling. So the union is worried about the jobs here, but they weren't worried about the jobs from 700 employees losing their jobs back then, right? Where were the unions then standing up for their employees? They were nowhere to be found. Not standing up for their employees. But now an arbitrator ruled that these people are entitled to compensation. 696 Alberta Health Services and Alberta Precision Laboratories employees are slated to receive thousands of dollars in payouts and reimbursements for the COVID-19 testing expenses they paid out of pocket. This compensation follows grievances filed by numerous healthcare workers who refused the vaccine. The decision stems from a recent settlement between the Health Sciences Association of Alberta and the Alberta Health Services. Unvaccinated healthcare workers in Alberta were put on unpaid leave for approximately 3 months before being allowed to be back at work. So this is how it happened there. It happened different everywhere. I know in Sudbury, if you look at the city workers, the arbitrator here ruled the city didn't do anything wrong and they don't require any compensation, the workers of the city. We had an arbitrator here rule that. So I guess the arbitrators all over the place just rule different things based on different things. But in Alberta, they ruled they do and are entitled, they do receive and are entitled to compensation for that. Back to speaking about the medical system in general in Canada, right? The Medical Association, Canada's hospital emergency rooms are in crisis and patients across Canada are waiting far too long to receive necessary care. Now, I bet you here as well, they don't mention anything about nursing shortages that have to do with those that had to leave their jobs or did leave their jobs due to pressures to receive something they weren't comfortable receiving. Their body, their choice, correct? So, but they were being forced and the unions didn't stand up for them and they left their profession or they couldn't do their profession. No mention of that in the article again here about why there's a shortage of nurses. But we're in crisis, right? The CMA said it's not just one hospital or community, but Canada-wide that needs to be addressed so that quick access to high-quality team-based primary care becomes the norm. Now, in Sault Ste. Marie, 10,000 patients just lost their nurse practitioner or doctor from the health center there just recently. So now there's 10,000 people in the Sioux without a doctor who had a doctor or nurse practitioner, right? There is a shortage. This is our healthcare system, but they're saying something needs to be done and addressed quickly to have quick access to high quality team-based primary care. The information was part of a recent statement from CMA President Dr. Kathleen Ross, who said despite the best efforts of physicians, nurses, and other health workers, some patients in Canada are waiting as long as 20 hours to get care. Staff shortages and hospital overcrowding combined with poor access to quality team-based primary care are leaving hospital emergency departments woefully under-resourced for the avalanche of patients with influenza and all the other stuff. Right? No mention that there's a shortage due to half the workforce or whatever leaving due to their mandates. So that's concerning. And this is another thing that's happened, unfortunately. You see a picture here. A Sudbury woman died waiting for a transplant. The quote is, "Never give up." A Sudbury woman in need of life-saving lung transplant, and whose COVID-19 vaccination status caused a delay in her application to be considered a transplant candidate, has died. So that's the second Sudbury person who, because of the COVID-19 vaccination policy of our healthcare system, which they never talk about how many people died because of that policy. Why not? It's a thing. It's newsworthy. I'm sure people would be interested in finding out how many people died because of COVID-19 vaccination policies, whether it was because you couldn't go and get a operation because hospitals were in kind of a lockdown mode. All surgeries were canceled. Remember that for I don't know how long. How many people ended up dying because of those policies made? You know, how many people? Well, here's one. Another one, just from Sudbury, right? A lady waiting for a lung transplant who passed away because of COVID-19 vaccination status, caused a delay in her application to be considered a transplant candidate. Rose Sawa, sorry about the pronunciation of the name. She was 63, had stage 4 pulmonary fibrosis, a terminal condition, and had prepared for all the preliminary steps, tests, therapies required to be considered as a candidate for the program when she learned in February 2023 that to meet the criteria, she would need a 4-dose vaccine series to protect her against COVID-19. No, the radio signal is still working. I just paused for effect. So do you see the hypocrisy in these policies at all? Am I the only one? She did everything. She did all the steps, everything you'd have to do to meet the criteria. But then they said you would need a 4-dose vaccine series to protect yourself against COVID-19. We don't want you to die of COVID-19. Right? We don't want that. So you need to get the 4-dose, which doesn't protect you from it either, right? It's proven now. It's proven it, ladies and gentlemen, it's proven that I don't know how many doses you get, 119 of them. It doesn't protect you from getting it. I'd love someone, if you think it does, come on and share the science behind that it does all of a sudden protect you from getting it. Why do you need so many doses then? You know, do you have to get 119 polio vaccines to protect you from polio? So anyway, she needed 4 of them to protect her from COVID-19. Don't want you dying of that. Now, I know you're going to die of not getting a lung. We'd rather die of that, right, than COVID-19. Makes sense. That's where we're at in our society right now. That's where we're at. Sawa was hesitant about getting the vaccine because of previous negative reactions from getting the flu shot. She, because it's her health, knew every time she got a flu shot, she had negative reactions. So she was concerned about this, which a lot of people were. And a lot of people still are. And anyways, she was concerned. She had reactions from the flu shot. Those circumstances changed August 1st when the Toronto Transplant Centre changed its policy and rather than requiring the vaccine was strongly recommending it instead. So they changed their policy. The science must have changed. Right? The science changed. So we changed the policy. Right? Wonder why the policy was changed to just highly recommending rather than making it mandatory. So the policy change was welcomed news for the family when her daughter Ashley, oh my goodness, contacted the center again in mid-August. I know her. Her mother received an appointment about 3 months later on November the 7th. However, during that period, Sawa's health deteriorated. She became weaker and eventually died from respiratory failure, not COVID-19. On January 9th at Health Sciences North. She was to learn later that month if she was a transplant candidate or not. Sad news, everyone. It's sad that our society had to go through this and be that way, if you will. Now, I'm not sure how much time we have left, unfortunately, but let's just look into a little bit of what's the latest, greatest. There's a new report out, speaking of policies and government making them, a new report just came out about the ArriveCan app and how much money was wasted on it. And this coming from Alberta News and Views. We'll be back right after this.
There's a new watchdog report out on the Arrive scam scandal. Here it is. I'm going through it. Here is the headline. 76% of ArriveCan contractors did absolutely no work. This is an incredibly damning report. $54 million were spent on this app. RCMP are investigating some of the contractors involved. And we found out today that of all the subcontractors that got money for this project, 76% of them did no work. There's a new...
They stole our money. Every single day, I get comments from people and messaging. We're talking. How is Justin Trudeau still there? Why? Why are the Liberal ministers not forcing him out? Why is there not a leadership review? How is this happening in this country? We all want to know. We all want to know why there is no justice. What was it? A 16 glass of orange juice was enough to get some member of parliament, some MP or politician to resign? What's the so like? It's just ridiculous. And we're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in subcontractors and ghost contractors gone. With the green slush fund, all of these things. And there are hundreds of billions of dollars unaccounted for. And these people still have a job. And that's just that. But with this ArriveCan coming out at a time, this is happening at a time right now, when 45% of our paychecks is going to taxes. It's going to this bullshit. Canadians are struggling. Homeless. They can't get a house. They can't afford to eat. They can't go to the hospital. And we got to deal with this, and they still have a job. How? But they're working for us. They're fighting for us. They're listening to us. This here is Andy Lee. She's an inside reporter. She's all over this for months now. In other exciting ArriveCan news, the Office of the Procurement Ombudsman has released a report finding that the two fellows working out of their riverfront cottage or chalet or house, whatever, the two guys working from their house on the app who ran off with millions of your money, your dollars, did not have proper security requirements when awarded the contract. So these two guys making an app with all of our identification on it, didn't even have proper security clearance. I'm not joking when I say that this app is the embodiment of the Liberal NDP government. It truly is. Complete incompetence, no oversight, money gone, fraud, corruption. It is just unreal. I'm going to keep you updated, as usual, with all of this. Follow me on Substack and Spotify, all of you out there.
So yeah, thank you for that, Alberta News and Views. We really appreciate the hard work that you do to keep us up to speed. And I didn't realize that report had come out. So if I didn't see that last night, then I wouldn't have known that. And so I appreciate that. And being able to give me a little bit of a break to look if there's any recent updates from Greater Sudbury Police on the whereabouts of Councillor 2, Michael Vagnini, City Councillor here in Greater Sudbury, who still is missing, unfortunately. And so again, no updates on that. And it's since Saturday night, and now we are Tuesday. So it's been a little while. He does not have his cell phone on him. He was last seen in a yellow hoodie, driving his black Dodge Ram, and in the lively Walden Whitefish area Saturday night, just after going to a rally at Bell Park. So if anybody has any information on that, please contact police as soon as possible. Contact media as well at the same time as you contact police. Contact Sudbury Star, let's say, and let them know what you found out at the same time you call Sudbury Police with the same information. Because you never know. You never know. You want to keep things as transparent as possible. And just some interesting things about that. That again, there's some strange happenings. I'm going to try and take today to process what all the information that's come out so far, because just on the fly today, some red flags went up with me. If I was an investigator, let's say, looking into this, I would then want to speak to the last people who spoke to him or saw him, which doesn't seem to have happened. And isn't that what you do as soon as someone's missing? You speak to the last person who saw them. That's 101. 101. Detective work. So I don't see anything in the media saying the last person who spoke to him said this or that, right? There's just general statements of, oh, he seems to have been like this, and lately he was saying things, didn't seem to be himself. Very general kind of statements about that. So the more specific we get sooner, the better. I'll do my best today, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have something, and hopefully by tomorrow he's found safe and sound. But anyways, that's the show for today, Tuesday, January the 30th, 2024. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Thanks to Alberta News and Views for the report on the ArriveCan scam app, and where you can get Fiverr to do an app for probably about $1,000. We spent $50-some million on it, and many of the people involved, there's no trace of any work being done by them. And at the end of the day, just like most things they do, it didn't even work. It never even worked. It's almost like the lab they gave, $1 billion to in Quebec to make a lab to make a vaccine, and it never even put a shovel in the ground. $1 billion. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on and on about misspending your money and then saying we need to tax you to save the planet. Oh, you could have took that money and it could have done something. If money does something to save our climate, then that money could have went to a good cause, I'm sure. Anyways, thanks for being with us today. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Be back, God willing, same time, same place. Have a safe and wonderful Tuesday, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.